Very good morning and welcome to Smart Men's Business. I'm Andrew Barije. Today is the 19th. That's of December. It's a Monday and it's quite a very cold Monday. And of course, we're getting ready for the festive season. Preparations all the way, as of course we try to ensure that we catch the festive season in the right perspective. And of course, today Smart Men's Business, we are live in JINJA. And of course, doing something a little bit different, trying to understand how the atmosphere is like, the business environment, and of course, how people are really planning out, the festive season to ensure that the businesses really run out on a very proper scale. And quite, of course, has been happening throughout the weekend, of course, following from the World Cup finals that took place yesterday, where Argentina actually matched winners of the finals. And I know quite so many masses, so many crowds of people were out there, and of course trying to witness this particular aspect. And I believe it's been one of the highlights of the weekend, trying to imagine those people that have the businesses that, that showcase, the football in the different, can I say, some sort of cinema halls, local cinemas, and it was quite booming, during that time, and so many other incidents, and happening in the world of business. Remember, on Smart Men's Business, I will bring you the latest business updates, international and locally. This is aimed to enable you make the right decisions as an entrepreneur so that you can invest appropriately, and at the end of the day, you make the profits. And of course, we're going to be investigating more of those business matters. Remember, it's very important for you to take in such times, how you run everything, in hardships, times of the economic crisis. But however, still, despite that, you can use the crisis for your own benefit, trying to find ways you can actually look through here and there and see how you can make the situation of great advantage on your side. And so many, as we're going to be checking out from the business updates, finding out what is really transpiring in the world of business. Yes, hope you really take this information very, very, very important, because it will be of great benefit for you. Like I told you, today we are in JINJA, of course, doing it, having a different style of SMB, giving you a different version, and of course getting to understand how it is like, how's the environment like this side in JINJA. And of course, looking at the daily updates regarding what's really transpiring, that's in the world of business, as we came over into the weekend. Like I told you, today is the 19th of December, and of course quite lots of anticipations are right there. And we shall look at the aspect of the Uganda Development Bank committing that's 148.5 billion, and of course to boost access to electricity. And of course, getting to understand here that the Uganda Development Bank has committed that's 148.5 billion to enable 550,000 households access electricity. And we see that the money will be available under the hybrid electricity customer connection credit framework, that is through partnership with Electricity Regulatory Authority, or what we know as ERA, and of course getting to with the Ministry of Energy. And of course, we see that speaking of the framework, that's in Kampala, Ms. Patricia Ojangole, that's the Uganda Development Bank Managing Director. And of course, said availability of sustainable energy is very critical for economic growth, poverty reduction, and of course, as well as social and cultural transformation. And that is something quite very positive in regarding to supply of electricity, to ensure that each household can actually access electricity at a relatively cheaper price. That would be something very favorable for that industry. And definitely, we anticipate more positivity from this report regarding this. Now, this looking at the Daily Monitor and what's really transpiring right there, that into the world of business, looking at Uganda Development Bank committing 148.5 billion, of course, to boost access to electricity. Of course, in this same particular lane, I remember 2 weeks back, the very bank actually issued invested money into Uganda Railways Corporation, and of course, that is intended to improve its services, how it operates, and so many other operations regarding that, despite the fact that the Uganda Railways Corporation hasn't come up with a full report yet to address the media regarding how best they're going to be using these funds in that regard. But that is very positive. That's of the Ugandan Development Bank in such a time when businesses are actually trying, of course, to keep up, with the current outgoing conditions to ensure that all matters move really in the proper direction. So you get to understand that despite the fact that all that is moving on in the country, definitely the economy has to keep on moving. That's from the positive perspective, because different economic activities interrelate with each other. So success of another, definitely that makes another also successful. Remember, it's like you ride on one another's success regarding that aspect. And now still looking at the Daily Monitor, we look at the aspect of government issuing 200 land titles to win, and of course, new generation landlords. That's in Oyam district. That's in the north of Uganda. That is something very remarkable. Of course, reading through this particular report, it says that the government has delivered 200 freehold land titles to tenants. That's in Oyam district. And of course, amid rampant cases that's of land disputes in Lango sub-region. Still looking into this particular one, we see that the land documents processed, that's under the systematic land adjunction and certification program, were handed over, that's to the boundaries, to the beneficiaries, that's at Opo Rosero Primary School in that's Minakolo Town Council. That is on Saturday. Still looking into this particular one, you see that the initiative is beginning a new generation, that's of landlords powered by the government of Uganda and of course Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development. That's according to Ms. Judith Nabakova in that particular report regarding that. Still further, we see that she actually made a statement here, and she went ahead to say that they are going to work hard to deliver. That's the remaining titles. And of course, she said she's instructing the officers from her ministry to share the lists that's of the titles brought, of course, with the local leaders, so that the leaders can share with the locals the SUN. So very interesting aspect regarding right there. And of course, still looking into this particular one, we look at a certain report here still in the Daily Monitor, which talks about not all lost after a year of extreme weather events. Well, and of course, we know that we're in times into the climate change, and it's really quite unpredictable how the weather is going to be like, and because as I speak right now, where we are in JINJA, it's heavily raining, and you can never tell. And of course, some areas get flooded as a result of that. Remember, despite the fact that you benefit from the weather, there is another person that is being affected by the same weather. So you get to understand and realize that it's not going to be that much friendly. That's on that side, and it's going to be quite very tricky. So still here, it talks about not all lost after a year of extreme that's weather events. And of course, still looking at a highlight here, it says that government figures show that forest cover has reduced from 24%, that's 1992, that's to 9% in 2015, on the back of losing 122,000 that's hectares annually. And the Global Forest Watch indicates that in 2010, Uganda had 6.93 million hectares that's of tree cover, and of course more than 29% that's of its area. Still looking at this report explaining the extreme weather conditions, we see that Uganda's capital, Kampala, is facing a damp Christmas with unseasonably cold temperatures, and of course in dark contrast, the more traditionally rainy weather of years gone by. Like I told you, of course, the weathers keep changing, and of course, at the end of the day, some economic activities are being affected as a result of that. So it could be at some point considered to be very extreme, but of course, not so extreme at the extent, depending on the economic activity that you do. Because what you judge as extreme, another person may not really see it as that much extreme. So it all comes back to that particular aspect regarding that. Okay, still continuing, of course, in a statement last month, the Uganda National Meteorological Authority forecasted that occasional rains would pound the capital. That's in December. And of course, southwestern parts of Ankole and Chigezi, it added, and of course, would be met with enhanced that's rainfall. Well, like I say, regardless of the situation, it depends on what you pick out of it, how you get use of it. It could be extreme to you, but that extremity, you can actually use it for the better. I mean, you can look at the other side of the aspect and get to ensure that you actually use it properly. Now, the question is, in such a time, I know so many people are actually complaining, the rains is affecting the businesses. Yes, it is okay. It is very understandable. But then I want to understand, what is another person doing about these particular rainfalls that are falling at the same time? You could be a farmer right there, deep in the village, in Mara, Masaka. What are you doing about this? It's very important to also consider that before you really run into quick judgments regarding how you feel about the situation. So you get to understand how really these matters can be really interrelated. So this could be, of course, right for you to prepare the grounds. You plant the seeds to ensure, because the soils are really favorable for what is really going on. They have this, the moisture, let me say that is going to be very, very, very important. Okay, now still looking at here, it says that this is but one of the shifts in weather patterns that Uganda has experienced. That's this year. Mr. Tadeo Muhindo, the former chairperson of disaster preparedness and management committee for Kasese district local government, says regarding this matter. And of course, because I hate to say that, prolonged droughts, loss of seasons, unexpected pests and diseases have been sounding nail in the country. And of course, that's for some time. But still, as we still see, this particular report, it says that, but it has barely helped matters. And of course, adds Dr. Tadeo Rusoke Amoti, a senior lecturer in conservation sciences, that Uganda keeps losing its forest cover. And of course, this upsets the counterbalance where plants take in carbon, that's as raw material to manufacture their own food. And of course, in return, they give back the oxygen. So still get to realize that message is quite very remarkable. That's from that personnel in charge of forestation in that particular district. And of course, talking about the floods that are being taking place, talking about the businesses that are being affected. But the most important aspect is more like, as authorities, it's very important to really look into the aspect of making sure that you try to counteract the effect and of course not really harm the entire people, the entire chain of people, let me say that are involved into this particular one. And weather changes, definitely we shall be expecting more of that, of course, regarding that matter. So it's very important, of course, to get to understand how really this is really functioning. Okay, now still in more updates, what's really making headlines, we see that government is to provide a solution to rising prices of fish feeds. Wow. Very, very important for those people that are actually dealing to the fishing industry, participating in. It's quite a very wide aspect in that regard. And of course, one of the aspects which are really, let me say, that have been causing quite lots of controversies and, causing people worry. We look at the rising prices of fish feeds. Remember, it's the fish feeds. I consider that the raw material to ensure that your business can actually survive. Your fishing business can survive for quite a while. So you get to understand how really important this is, getting to see. So if I review this particular report, it says that the Minister of ICT and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Beromasi, said that government is doing all it can to caution fish farmers from skyrocketing prices, that's of feeds, and which has made it difficult for them to break even. Well, just like what I say, the raw materials, of course, being limited, not being, of course, enough. Fish feeds being very important because What are you going to sell out to the public if it's not healthy? So you need to feed it the right way. And of course, the prices of those feeds have been quite a lot, and so many farmers have been really finding it hard to break even regarding that. So as I continue with this report, it says that according to the minister, the cabinet has come up with a policy that will support local entrepreneurs to manufacture accessible and affordable fish feeds. Very important. Now, instead of importing these from other countries, it's going to be actually done in the country, Uganda. So you get to see and understand. I think this is quite a much more better way. And of course, now this comes back to this aspect of skilling. You know, the people that are going to participate into the manufacturing of these fish feeds into the country, Uganda, and at the end of the day, it's going to provide employment opportunities to the people in here. So this is very, very important, and quite opportunities, you know, quite many opportunities that are involved into this. It's bigger than just the fish farmers, but I'm looking at the other people that are going to benefit from those factories, from those manufacturing. Can I call them plants? Okay, I don't want to use plants because plants is quite a very big word in that aspect, but they're going to be getting these jobs. So good news for that. And Dr. Baroma made remarks on Saturday during a visit to Mr. Justice Mohanji. That's a model farmer. That's at Kashenyi Ward, Ishaka Division. That's in Kashenyi Municipality. So you get to understand how really that is transpiring right there. People dealing in fish, talking about the prices of the fish feeds being very high. And of course, a solution is being worked upon that. I was, of course, still looking through here the Daily Monitor, trying to see what's really making headlines regarding that matter. All right, I think at this particular time, I'm going to review some other print media regarding this, as well. Of course, we keep driving the business. Remember, at this time around, we're looking to what's making headlines to the print media, but today I don't have the physical copies with me. I'm actually reading a digital copy. Yes, digitization, a way to go out there. So I'm just having a few small aspects here. But anyway, still as I continue, as I wait for my gadget to get proper, you get to realize that in such a time, you know, let me say this, it's very important to position yourself as a business person and not to miss out on the potential opportunities that actually this season brings across. You know, I remember last time I was having an interview with some of the people, the business people, and of course saying that this season seems to be the worst. And well, to them, they feel a little bit frustrated. But then the question is, how come that some other people actually making good use of this season to actually make large chunks of money, you know? I was really thinking, you know, so it's all about, it comes back to a place of positioning yourself. And of course, not anyhow, but position yourself right. You know, because opportunity comes when you're prepared, you know, comes when you position, and positioning yourself and preparedness definitely move hand in hand. So you can't say that actually you can do one and leave out the other. Well, at this particular time, I'm going to get joined with Joram Paul Sonko. And of course, we are going to be, of course, talking about getting to understand the situation right here in JINJA. And of course, getting to understand what's really transpiring here to move on. And of course, getting some traffic updates within here. Yeah, so I'm going to get joined with Joram Sonko right now, and of course see what's really transpiring in right there. Okay. I'm told I'll be getting we shall be getting to Joram later, and of course just a few there. But still, let's still take a look at what is really still transpiring. That's into the world of business, and definitely we're going to. As we are still reviewing what's really transpiring in the world of business. Okay, let's get straight with Joram to give us an update regarding what's transpiring, what's really transpiring in the traffic in JINJA City. Getting to see the situation, the traffic congestion. You remember, JINJA is one of the places that some of our family people come to celebrate the Christmas. How is that traffic congestion like there? I'm going to be joined by Joram Paul Sonko. And of course, we're going to be dissecting these matters, making sure that we get to see so that you can have a picture for those that are planning to come.
Hey, and good morning, Uganda, good morning, East Africa. How are you doing? We are live from JINJA City, and it does look so. If you rained since 5 a.m., heavily raining since up in the morning, and the city does look like it is after the rain, because most of them are yet to be up. No, where we're currently at is the junction to Kampala. But as you can see, most of the shops in and around here already closed. Not yet 8 o'clock yet. As you can see, most of the people are closed. Clicking 23 minutes. And most of the shops are closed, and most people are yet to reopen and start up a busy day. Monday, and of course Mondays are normally supposed to be if you're to look at the big East Africa, things like Nairobi, Dar es Salaam, in the first because of at this moment. Now, where we started, as I was telling you, a road junction in between Clay Road East, Lumba Road, and Alidina Road. So when you look at Clay Road East and then Lumbasi Road, take the road that is opposite to Clay Road East, you'll be heading down to Kampala. That is the road that is actually heading to Kampala, heading to Mukono and all those other situations. All
right.
Well, it's still a busy.
Thank you, Joram, for that. And of course,
Most of the shops.
Okay, according to what Sonko is actually telling us, if you are to actually get to see what is transpiring right there, remember it's quite a cold morning, and of course, quite lots of people definitely, the shops are still closed. And of course, there is not really that much congestion that is taking place right there. And it started off on quite a very busy, it was quite unpredictable. Such a Monday to start on the rainy perspective like this. So like I've been reviewing a report actually regarding this matter, getting to see what is really the extreme weather conditions actually. Can I say it's really been the situation that is at play right here in JINJA City, transpiring in there. So the congestion, I'll say in that perspective, it's a little bit calm. It's not really as much congested as that, but business is being hampered, it's being tampered with the heavy rainfalls. And definitely, what does this call for? Getting to understand what is really transpiring. Very, very, very interesting, of course, report there from Joram Paul Sonko regarding what we are having here in JINJA, in the capital of JINJA, and of course, getting to see the situation, how it is like right there. Ask yourself, like the same situation we experienced in Kampala when we have really such heavy rainfalls, regarding this, because sometimes what really causes the people not to really show up on such times is because probably the flooding situations have affected their movements regarding that. Some people lose their property at the same time. So that's the report regarding, of course, what's happening due to the extreme rains that were quite a big surprise. And of course, coming in through. And of course, we didn't know that actually they could really affect the people of JINJA to this extent. You know, shops still closed. I mean, it's just 27 minutes past 7 a.m. You know, of course, on a busy day in town, such we expect, you know, if you go to Kampala, right, there are also many other cities. Of course, this is the time when the shops actually open and business officially kicks off regarding that. And of course, I'm grateful with Joram Paul Sonko for that report. And it's exactly 27 minutes past the hour of 7 a.m. And at this particular time, let's get into a short commercial break. And we shall be returning with Karibu East Africa and the international news. Stick around. Good morning.